Her name is Dorothy Caldwell. The year is 1957. Dayton, Ohio. She is 32 years old, 5 feet 4, 122 pounds. Her waist measures 24 inches. She has 3 children. She has never been to a gym. She has never taken a vitamin. She has never downloaded an app or Googled a single thing about her weight. Her bathroom shelf holds 4 products. She sleeps 8.5 hours every night. Her total annual spending on health and wellness is $0. She will keep that waist, that skin, and that energy for the next 25 years. Nobody in her household owned a supplement, a tracker, or a membership. What Dorothy had were 10 habits that cost her nothing. Today we are counting all 10. Number 3 will change how you see your kitchen. And number 1 is the thing a $6.8 trillion industry needs you to never find out. This is Recollection Road. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss what we uncover next. Number 10. No screen time. Wednesday evening, 1957. The dishes are done. The children are in pajamas. Dorothy sits in the front room with Roy while the Zenith warms up. One program, 30 minutes. The tube goes dark. The clock on the mantle ticks. The refrigerator hums from the kitchen. A dog barks somewhere down the block. That is everything. That is the entire sensory world inside that house after 8:15 at night. No scroll, no autoplay, no second screen glowing on the arm of the sofa. Just a quiet room and a woman whose nervous system is winding down the way a nervous system is supposed to. The first commercial television sets reached American living rooms in 1947. An RCA set cost $395. Most families owned one. One set, one room, one choice. The average American in 1957 watched about 5 hours of television a week. Harvard researchers have since confirmed what Dorothy lived without knowing. Screens after dark suppress melatonin, delay sleep onset, and increase cortisol. The body cannot tell the difference between a phone and a fluorescent light. Today, the average American logs over 7 hours of screen time per day. The global digital wellness market, the apps designed to reduce that screen time, is worth $7.8 billion. An industry built to fix a problem that did not exist when the television had a single knob. She did not need a screen time tracker because there was nothing to track. Number 9. Water as the primary beverage. Morning in the Caldwell kitchen. Dorothy fills a glass from the tap. No filter, no infusion, no electrolyte packet torn open along a dotted line. The water is cold. It tastes like water. She drinks 5, sometimes 6 glasses a day because she is thirsty, and water is what exists. There's coffee in the percolator and milk in the icebox, and that is the full inventory of beverages in the house. Municipal tap water in Dayton, Ohio cost roughly 15 cents per 1,000 gallons in the mid-50s. A family of 5 could drink all year for less than $2. The science is not complicated. The human body is 60% water. Hydration regulates temperature, joint function, nutrient delivery, and waste removal. A 1999 study in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association found that plain water was the single most effective daily hydration source. Nothing outperformed it. The global bottled water market is now worth $350 billion. The enhanced water segment alone, water with added vitamins, minerals, collagen, or electrolytes, exceeds $15 billion. The original product still comes out of the faucet. Water was free from the tap and it worked. Number 8, social connection through community. Sunday morning, 1958. Dorothy is in the 3rd pew at Grace Lutheran. Roy is beside her, the children fidget. After the service, there is coffee in the basement and 20 minutes of conversation with women she has known since before her wedding. Tuesday is the Women's Club at the Dayton Civic Building. Wednesday is cards at Elaine's house across town. Thursday is coffee at Margaret Schultz's kitchen, 4 doors down, where Margaret holds court with a percolator and opinions about everything. Dorothy is touched, heard, and seen every single day of her life. Not through a feed, not through a comment. Through a hand on her arm, a chair pulled out, a voice that says her name out loud. The mid-century American woman averaged 3 to 5 meaningful social interactions per week outside her home. Church directories from this era often listed meeting schedules that filled 4 weekday evenings. Brigham Young University published a meta-analysis in 2010, covering 308,000 participants. The finding was blunt. Weak social connection increases mortality risk by the same amount as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness is not a feeling, it is a health outcome. The loneliness economy is now a measurable market. Friendship apps, social wellness platforms, and community membership services generate over $2 billion annually. They are selling proximity back to a species that evolved to live in groups. She did not need a loneliness app because she was never alone. Number 7, no supplements needed. Dinner at the Caldwell table, 1957. Roast beef from Kroger, 42 cents a pound. Potatoes from the garden. Green beans canned in September. Bread baked that morning. Butter from the dairy case. A glass of whole milk for every child. The meal cost Dorothy 60 cents to feed 5 people. Every recommended dietary allowance, protein, iron, calcium, vitamins A through D, met without a capsule, without a gummy, without a powder stirred into a glass. 1 a day. Vitamins launched in 1940 by Miles Laboratories. A bottle cost about $1.50. Most households in the 50s did not buy them. Most did not need to. The food was doing the job. An editorial in the Annals of Internal Medicine in 2013 reviewed 3 major trials covering over 400,000 participants. The conclusion was direct. Supplementing with vitamins showed no clear benefit for preventing heart disease, cancer, or cognitive decline in well-nourished adults. The food was still doing the job. The difference was that fewer people were eating it. The global dietary supplement industry is valued at over $177 billion. Gummy vitamins alone are a $6 billion category. Dorothy's 60-cent dinner outperformed them all. A balanced dinner cost 60 cents, and it did more than $60 of supplements. Here is what keeps appearing when you trace this carefully enough. Every single one of these was free. Not cheap, not discounted. Not a good deal, free. Water from the tap, sleep from the dark, community from the church basement, a full dinner from whole ingredients that cost less than $1, and every one of these has been replaced by a product with a price tag, a subscription, or a monthly auto refill. That is not progress. That is a business model. Wait until you see what number 5 reveals about your own home. Number 6, lower chemical exposure. Open the cabinet under Dorothy's kitchen sink. Count what you see. Borax, Old Dutch cleanser, white vinegar, Fell's naphtha soap, bleach, 5 products. That is everything she uses to clean a 3-bedroom house, top to bottom, week after week. She can hold every product in her 2 hands. She knows what each one does because each one does exactly one thing. 4 doors down, Margaret Schultz does it with even less. Baking soda, vinegar, and a lemon. That is it. Margaret says no home needs more than what God and a lemon tree can provide. She has been saying it since 1951, and she has never once been wrong. Old Dutch Cleanser was introduced in 1905 by the Cudahy Packing Company. A can cost about 10 cents. It contained pumice and sodium carbonate. A child could read the label. Modern toxicology tells us what Dorothy intuited. The fewer synthetic compounds contacting skin, lungs, and surfaces where food is prepared, the lower the cumulative toxic load on the body. A 2016 study from the University of Bergen found that women who cleaned with chemical sprays regularly showed lung function decline, equivalent to smoking 20 cigarettes a day over 20 years. The American household cleaning market is now worth over $35 billion. The average home contains over 62 individual cleaning products. Each one has an ingredient list that requires a chemistry degree to decode. Before we continue, if this is making you think, hit subscribe. And so more people get to see what we are finding here. Then stay. Because number 1 is the thing a $6.8 trillion industry most needs you not to know. 5 products under the sink, and she never once read an ingredient label. Number 5, fresh air and outdoor time. May 1958, 8 in the morning. Dorothy carries a basket of wet sheets to the backyard. The line runs 40 feet between 2 metal poles. She pins each sheet with a wooden clothespin, arms lifting, stretching, pulling. The cotton smells like soap and cold water. The sun hits the back of her neck. She is outside for 45 minutes before she goes back in. By noon, she will walk 6 blocks to the grocer and 6 blocks home, bags in each hand. In the afternoon, the windows are open and the garden needs weeding. 2 to 3 hours of outdoor time, every single day. And she never once thought of it as a health practice. In Columbus, Ruth Ann Fessler is 26. She hangs laundry for a family of 4. Her arms are toned and strong. She has never done a push-up in her life. The clothesline did it for her. Outdoor light exposure triggers serotonin production and regulates the circadian clock. A 1998 study published in The Lancet confirmed that regular daylight exposure was the single most reliable regulator of the human sleep-wake cycle. The outdoor wellness market, encompassing UV lamps, vitamin D supplements, light therapy boxes, and nature therapy retreats, now exceeds $9 billion. Dorothy got the same benefit from a clothesline and a vegetable garden. Here's what keeps surfacing when you study this closely. None of these habits required a budget. None required equipment. None required a subscription, a download, or a login. And none of them disappeared by accident. The things being sold back to women today are the same things that were quietly removed from their daily lives, not by choice, but by design. Number 3 is the one that made me stop and rethink everything in my kitchen. She got 2 hours of sunlight every day, and she called it laundry. Number 4, 8 hours of sleep, 9:45 at night. The Caldwell house is dark. Dorothy is in bed. The window is cracked 2 inches. Cool air moves through the room. There is no phone on the nightstand. There is no nightstand glow. The pillow smells like line-dried cotton, and the sheets are pulled tight because she made the bed that morning with hospital corners. She will sleep 8.5 hours. She does this every night. She does not try. There is nothing pulling her to stay awake. Before the invention of the electric light bulb, the average American slept 9 to 10 hours per night. The alarm clock, as a mass consumer product, appeared in the late 1800s. By the 1950s, 8 to 9 hours remained standard for most households. Matthew Walker, neuroscientist at UC Berkeley and author of Why We Sleep, has documented that sleep below 7 hours measurably increases the risk of heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. A Gallup survey found the average American now sleeps 6.8 hours per night, a decline of over an hour in just 60 years. Marilyn Monroe reportedly insisted on 10 hours a night. She understood what the body required before the research confirmed it. The sleep economy, encompassing supplements, trackers, weighted blankets, smart mattresses, white noise machines, and sleep coaching, is valued at over $100 billion globally. All of it in pursuit of something Dorothy got for free by going to bed when it was dark. She slept 8 hours because there was nothing worth staying up for. Number 3, real food, minimal processing. When I started researching this video, I assumed women in the 1950s were just luckier, born into better genetics or smaller portions. What the data actually shows is that their food was structurally different. Not smaller meals, not better willpower, a completely different food supply that modern industry has since rebuilt from the molecule up. Saturday morning, 1957, Dorothy's kitchen. The bread is rising under a cloth on the counter. The smell is warm yeast and flour and the faintest sweetness from the honey she folded in. On the stove, a roast chicken seasoned with salt and sage. The skin crackles as the oven ticks higher. On the counter, a pie crust made from 4 ingredients: flour, lard, salt, and ice water. Her hands are dusted white. The children sit at the table drawing on the back of envelopes. Everything Dorothy feeds her family this week will come from ingredients she can name by sight, by smell, or by touch. Nothing in her kitchen contains a word she cannot say out loud. The first TV dinner was introduced by Swanson in 1953 at a price of 98 cents. By 1960, the frozen food market was booming. But in kitchens like Dorothy's, the shift had not yet taken hold. The average 1950s housewife spent 4 to 6 hours a day preparing meals from scratch. Julia Child famously said that people who love to eat are always the best people. The women of this era did not love food as a hobby. They loved it as architecture. A study published in the BMJ in 2019 found that every 10% increase in ultra-processed food consumption correlated with a 14% increase in all-cause mortality. The food Dorothy made was not a diet, it was the default. And the default has been systematically replaced. The ultra-processed food market now exceeds $2 trillion globally. That number includes the meal kits, the protein bars, the supplements, and the wellness drinks designed to correct the damage done by the same industry that created the problem. Here's the closing argument. The pattern is undeniable now. Every single layer of the modern wellness industry, every product, every subscription, every $12 smoothie and $40 supplement exists to replace a habit that was once automatic. These women did not optimize. They did not track. They did not hack their biology. They simply lived in a system that had not yet been disassembled and sold back to them in pieces. Number 2 has the data that makes the whole thing impossible to deny. And number 1 is where the money trail ends. Every ingredient had a name she could pronounce, and every meal cost under $1. Number 2, physical activity built into daily life. Monday morning, 1957. Dorothy is on her knees scrubbing the kitchen floor with a brush and a bucket of soapy water. The bristles scratch against linoleum. Her shoulders burn. By 10, she will have wrung out a load of sheets by hand, carried the wet laundry basket up 14 stairs, and kneaded enough bread dough for 2 loaves. By noon, she will have swept the porch, beat the rugs over the railing, and walked to the post office and back. She does not count steps. She does not own a pedometer. She does not wear a watch that buzzes when she has been sitting too long. A 2011 study by Dr. Timothy Church and colleagues, published in PLOS 1, estimated that daily occupation-related energy expenditure for women has decreased by over 100 calories per day since 1960. Dr. David Bassett's research on old-order Amish communities found that Amish women averaged over 14,000 steps a day through housework and farming alone. The researcher who led the 1950s caloric study estimated that a housewife of Dorothy's era burned 857 calories through daily domestic labor. Audrey Hepburn, often admired for her slender frame, attributed her figure not to the gym but to an active daily life. She walked, gardened, and kept her own home well into her later years. The global gym and fitness industry is worth over $96 billion. The home fitness equipment market exceeds $14 billion. Fitness trackers and wearables add another $61 billion. Combined, the industry to make people move costs over $170 billion a year. Dorothy moved because her life required it. She burned 857 calories a day and never once called it a workout. Number 1, the rise of the wellness industry. This is the one the industry most needs you not to know. Dorothy Caldwell did not have a wellness routine. She did not have a morning ritual or a supplement stack or a meal plan. She did not have a gym membership or a fitness tracker or a meditation app. She had a life in which water came from the tap, food came from the kitchen, exercise came from the work of keeping a house and raising children. Sleep came from a dark room and a body that had moved all day. Community came from the church and the neighbor and the Wednesday card game. Fresh air came from the clothesline. And every single one of these things was free. The global wellness economy is valued at $6.8 trillion. That is not a typo, $6.8 trillion. It is larger than the GDP of every country on Earth except the United States, China, Japan, and Germany. And every single dollar of it is spent trying to replicate what Dorothy had for nothing. The personal care and beauty market accounts for $1.1 trillion. The healthy eating and nutrition market, $955 billion. The fitness market, $738 billion. The wellness tourism market, $651 billion. Mental wellness, $613 billion. These are not luxuries being added to modern life. These are replacements for things that were removed from it. Gwyneth Paltrow built Goop into a company valued at over $250 million selling wellness products and lifestyle advice. The products are exquisite. The marketing is flawless. And the underlying premise is that health is something you buy. Dorothy would not have understood the question. Health was not something she bought. It was something that happened while she was hanging laundry. The industry did not find a problem and solve it. The industry removed the original conditions of health, real food, physical labor, outdoor time, community, rest, and then sold corrective products at enormous profit. This is not a conspiracy. It is a business model. And it is the most successful one in human history. Your grandmother's health cost her nothing. 1989. A Sunday afternoon in early October. Dorothy's daughter Linda climbs the narrow stairs to the attic of the house on Wilmington Avenue. She opens a cedar chest that has not been opened in years. The smell of cedar and old linen rises into the dust. Inside, folded in tissue paper, is her mother's wedding dress. Ivory satin. Pearl buttons down the back. A waist that looks impossibly narrow. Linda holds it up. She steps into it in front of the mirror. It will not close. Not by 3 inches. Linda is 34. She eats salads. She takes a daily multivitamin. She pays for a gym membership she uses 3 times a week. She runs 2 miles every Saturday morning. She is 30 pounds heavier than her mother was at the same age. She stands in front of that mirror for a long time. She sets the dress down. She will spend the rest of that evening staring at a photograph of Dorothy on her wedding day, trying to understand what she is doing wrong. The answer is everything and nothing. Dorothy did not do anything right. She simply lived in a world that had not yet learned how to sell her health back to her at a markup. 10 habits. Not one of them required a subscription, a budget, or a 10-step routine. Tap water, a dark bedroom, a church pew, a 60-cent dinner, a clothesline in the yard. These were not replaced because something better arrived. They were replaced because something more expensive did. Which of these 10 did your mother or grandmother do without thinking? And which one are you bringing back into your own life this week?